What is up, Goat World? Arts and Crafts here, once again bringing you some in-depth coverage of the Goat Format War League Season 6 playoffs. If you've watched the last couple videos, you will recall that we are deep into the wildcard round between defending champions RICO Act and 10-seed Carbombnara. Before we get into the video, I do want to apologize if the audio quality is a little bit bad this video. My microphone just kind of died this morning, so I'm going with a backup mic, which isn't as good, but hopefully within the next few days I will, get another high quality mic in here to continue to pump out better quality videos for you guys. But without further ado, if you recall where we have been at, we started off here. This is the Goat Format War League playoffs, so it is a 6v6 survival style bracket between two teams. The first feature match we did was Carbombnara's andend defeating R.I.C.O of RICO Act. Andend was the only Carbombnara player to win their match in Wave 1, so now it is up to them to defeat every single player on the RICO Act starting roster in order to secure Carbombnara's advancement into the quarterfinals of the playoffs. They were able to fend off in the last video the top player from RICO Act Moxies on their warrior list, which is a interesting matchup for Panda Burn here that andend is playing. And now RICO Act has decided to bring in one of their Chaos Turbo players in the stable, Purple Drunk here, to fight off andend. And if Purple Drunk is able to win, then RICO Act will win this entire round and advance to the quarterfinals. Otherwise, andend will have to face off against one of the next three players on the RICO Act roster. So getting, still a lot of ways to go here for andend if they want to pull off the entire team sweep. But so far, 2-0 so far in this round. So definitely, has the ability to make a deep run here in this wild card round. Show you guys, thank you, Dueling Book. I did show off some of the scouting from andend from the previous rounds. Like I said, they are running Panda Burn here, and it is an interesting, very clearly pre-sided for Chaos Turbo Panda Burn list with main deck double Mind Control, supported by triple Gravekeeper Spy in the main deck as well. So, as mentioned in previous videos, RICO Act is a very Chaos Turbo heavy team, so andend definitely came prepared for that matchup with the way they configured their main deck, which I think is why RICO probably sent out Moxies in the previous round, running Warrior, in an attempt to kind of subvert what andend's deck is configured to beat. However, andend was able to win that matchup anyway, 2-1 close match, but did come out with the dub. And now, all RICO can send out after andend is Chaos Turbo lists that andend is pre-sided for, or Chaos Control, which the Sectus naturally has a good or a decent matchup against, right? So andend, still has a long way to go in order to win this match for Carbombnara. But has a pretty clear path to victory, right? They're either playing against the deck that they're specifically prepared to beat, or one that they naturally will have a solid time against. So if andend's able to win this one, it might be time to start sweating for RICO. Just because 3 wins on the bounce is pretty impressive, and the rest of the decks, if andend has already beaten 2 Chaos Turbo lists, what's to say they won't have any trouble beating the other ones? You know what I mean? But overall, relatively standard burn stuff outside of the Moncons and the Spies here. Out of the side, in the last match we did see the Kinetic Soldier. Not expecting to see that against Chaos Turbo list, but that isn't in there for the Warrior matchup. They are playing Giant Trunades somewhere in the 55, which is pretty standard. And they do, I believe, have Torrential Tribute in the side as well. Not sure if you bring that in against Turbo, but definitely an option. Let's go over to Purple Drunk here. Like I said, they are playing Chaos Turbo, and from what I could see, it is relatively standard, at least in the main deck side of things. Triple Spy, which is slightly worse against Burn probably than Double Spy, but those probably come out, or at least 2 of them probably come out post-side regardless. And then Purple Drunk did play against Reasoning Gate in their first round, so we did see some weird stuff coming out like Karibo and Spirit Reaper, which, probably doesn't have too much use. I mean, maybe Karibo has a little bit of use against Panda Burn, but not sure if that makes the cut. They're also on likely the Scapegoat Metamorphosis side deck, which does give them a little bit less space to go up against Panda Burn with, right? the natural sort of, or the standard warrior side that people play with like the Solemn Judgments, which isn't good against burn, but the Sakuretsu armors is generally quite strong against burn. You want to bring those into deal with opposing pandas and things like that. But what's not great against burn are scapegoats, right? So the fact that Purple Drunk is on the kind of chaos control smokescreen play is going to make their matchup post-side a little bit worse against burn, just because they won't have as much space for some of the anti-burn cards that you might want to play. They're also running the new Mystic Tomato strat in the side. Likely not going to see that against burn. I don't think it really does too much, but interesting to see that coming out here. And they do have card destruction at least coming out of the side, which is a nice card into burn. So they do have some units ready to go for this matchup, and potentially some other ones, of course, because we don't have the full list. But without further ado, let's hop right into it. As always, I have randomized which POV we're watching this for, as to not spoil the ending. But let's hop in. Looks like Andend won the RPS. We'll be going first. Always great to see as the burn player. The kind of script here in a general Panda Burn versus Chaos Turbo matches, burn is kind of favored in game 1 before Turbo is able to bring in all of their side deck hate. And then the burn player kind of has to fight an uphill battle in the 2 games post side in order to win against a bunch of side deck hate. So Andend really looking to get off to a good start here. Winning the RPS definitely going to help with that. Let's see what they can start out with. Opening Graceful Charity, always good. Going to get some nice card filtration here. Discarding Level Limit Area B and Jar of Greed, 2 cards that can be kind of redundant, so nice discards most likely. Going to fire off Pot of Greed, that's another really good card. So opening Double Trinity, really good omen here for our Panda Burn player and for Carbombnara's, playoff hopes here. They're going to go set 3 back row and pass, so already up a card. Really solid start. See what Purple Drunk can do. Going to fire a Pot of Greed of their own, so already equalizing one of those Trinity pieces. Not too bad. And then we're going to just see a classic set monster with a couple back row. So Andend up some decent tempo here, because Purple Drunk, can't really get aggressive this early. We'll see what Andend can do in this scenario. Has that main deck mind control on lock. This is exactly what you drew up. Purple Drunk, if they did the prep, would know that the main deck mind cons are going to come through here, though. So maybe more likely that they set a bait here than otherwise. It is going to be a Mystic Tomato. Okay, so Purple Drunk is main decking the Tomato. I did not see that in the prep. So main deck Tomato, pretty neat. I know that that is a strategy that some players have been messing around with, at least in the side deck, but it looks like RICO is bringing the main deck Tomatoes here in the playoffs, which is kind of fun. And we are going to successfully bait out this Minecon here, so slight win for Purple Drunk. Not going to, and then, of course, wanting to snag a Magician of Faith or something, but Purple Drunk, like I said, if you did your prep and your opponent is on multiple main deck Minecons, you probably want to be a little bit conservative with your early game set monsters, especially when your opponent has double Trinity pieces in the grave. So, not too bad. And in here is going to flip it up, and then just set a monster with a couple more back rows. So 5 whole back row there. Likely lots of potential burn damage coming through. Purple Drunk has not been able to make too much progress just yet, but this Tomato is at least sticking around and successfully baited out that Minecon. Now, it's interesting to see that Purple Drunk did not go for normal summon Tomato attack into the open board last turn. I know there was obviously 3 back rows staring it down, but I feel like you don't really care if your Tomato gets like mirror forced or something. But maybe wanting to set up for a potential Magician of Faith play or something like that. So valuing the potential to bait out a Mind Control or a Nobleman of Crossout with the Tomato face down, rather than the potential 1,400 points of damage they could have gotten in by just normal summon plus attack. See if that ends up being the right call, though. They did successfully bait something out, so if they do have like a Faith or something to resolve, this could be worth it. Gonna get to main phase 1, no trio stuff coming down just yet. They're gonna fire off a Nobleman of Crossout. On the set monster, we do know Andend is running main deck Desert Sunlight, so no guarantee that this resolves. We'll see if Andend can do anything here. Looks like we got a little bit of connection issues. And we're going to go ahead and resolve Nobleman of Crossout targeting Gravekeeper Spy. Alright, so both players are going to see all of their spies leave their list. Purple Drunk here, just banishing 2, and we know that they're running 3 based on the prep, so they are pretty much guaranteed to have a Gravekeeper Spy in hand at this point in time, unless they're cheating, I guess. Jar of Greed here to draw now that the deck is thinned. Nice sequencing there. Spy, of course, not a great card against burn. So if you have a chance to knock your opponent's spies, thin your deck of theirs, or thin your deck of your own. That way you don't risk drawing into one with Jar. It's pretty nice, so I really like the way that they played this one out. We're just going to go normal summon third spy and start beating in. We're going to beat in for 14 here with the tomato. That's going to connect, so nice early clock here for Purple Drunk. Really happy about that. If you're the turbo player, you're going to set another monster past turn. Could be that third spy, just trying to bait something out maybe. We'll get end phase just desserts. Have to assume we're going to see a trio come through here. And then waiting patiently for Purple Drunk to play a second monster so that the trio will fill up the entire board and get maximum value for this just desserts. 2 just desserts and a trio, so this is 5,000 damage coming in right here, right now, to Purple Drunk's face. Tons and tons of damage here for andend, and they are, getting maximum value from their just desserts. Love to see that as a burn player in a really good spot here. Only 3,000 more damage to get through, with still, probably 1 more copy of just desserts, at least 2 copies of Secret Barrel ready to go, Ceasefire, Pandas, all that good stuff. So andend here only has 1 backer to deal with, and a single Panda is almost entirely game at this point. It's going to set 2 more backers, so no monsters here, but if we got like Secret Barrel plus another just desserts, this is just GG, right? Purple Drunk will make it to main phase 1. We're going to go flip summon to Koichi. Cool, so that is the last monster that they will be able to play for the time being. We'll get to draw a little bit further into the deck at least and try and find maybe a Heavy Storm or something like that. We're going to start beating in for 2,800 a turn. Ooh, but andend has the Gravity Bind here, and this is set up very, very nicely. You've trio locked your opponent before showing the Battle Floodgate, so now Purple Drunk, even if they had like a Sangan in hand or something, won't be able to play it and start freeing up zones, so they're stuck with 2 monsters on the field that just really can't do anything at this point in time. And if it wasn't already looking really good for andend, I feel like it really, really is now, unless Purple Drunk has like an immediate out to this Gravity Bind. Oh, it is. We do have Raigeki Break though, discarding the 3rd spy. Pretty dead card. So the Gravity Bind will be killed, but andend is now going to go ahead and chain the Secret Barrel. Yeah, I guess this is close to maximum value you can get off of this before the Raigeki Break hits the grave. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 2,200 points of damage. That is nothing to scoff at. Oh, and then they have the 3rd just desserts as well. Okay, so it doesn't even matter. Kind of just how I drew it up. I said barrel and desserts was lethal, and that is exactly what andend had. And this is going to be game 1 here for andend on Panda Burn. Like I said, still kind of like on serve in this matchup. You expect the burn player to win game 1. So we'll get to go to game 2 here. Purple Drunk will be able to bring in any of the side deck hate that they have, assuming they brought some. And we'll try to kind of right the ship here and win these 2 more favorable games post-side. So yeah, spent a little bit of time side decking. Purple Drunk will be going first here. And they are going to go ahead and go T-set pass. No Trinity in the opener, but, at least using the first player tempo advantage quite nicely by utilizing their normal summon. Always have to worry about mind cons, of course, as we've seen, so we'll see if andend has some of that set monster hate in their opener. They do have a Nobleman of Crossout, not too bad, and that's going to hit into Koichi. So tempo advantage already pretty much nullified here for Purple Drunk. And looks like they are on the 2 copies, or maybe have a 3rd in hand. And then it's going to go T-set pass on their own there, so basically just stealing the tempo advantage with that knock, and then proposing the same exact problem to Purple Drunk of how to deal with. See what our Chaos Turbo player can do here. Just going to go set a back row pass. Okay, so maybe a little bit of a bricked hand here. No monsters to play. No set monster interaction. If this is like a jar or something, and then it's going to be in a really, really solid spot. We're going to get Standby Phase Trap Dust Shoot, though. Okay, so Purple Drunk going to get a little bit of action here. Yeah, and I guess we'll just have a nice little sneak peek into what both players are playing. So Purple Drunk firing off that Trap Dust Shoot. Yeah, and kind of as expected, it was either they have no monsters in hand or only Chaos monsters in hand. Turns out it is the first one. This is a lot of back row removal, which is what you want to see against burn, right? The post side, generally, you'll like, if you're not maining MST, you'll bring it in. You'll bring in any extra discard traps if you have them, stuff like that. So seeing the side decked cards, but unfortunately, Dekoichi was their only threat, and with that getting knocked, they just really don't have anything to speak of. And unfortunately for Purple Drunk, this Trap Dust Shoot is going to whiff. You see Andend's hand has a Mind Control, so they opened Knock and Mind Con, which is pretty nice. Ring and Secret Barrel are both decent stuff to have here, as well as this Graceful Charity. So Purple Trunk is completely whiffing on this Trap Dust Shoot, will at least have the knowledge of what's in Andend's hand, but Graceful Charity can nullify that pretty easily if they just go fire that off right now. So pretty, I would call this a win for Andend. Of course, they do not know that Purple Drunk's hand is pretty bricked. But just the fact that Purple Drunk isn't playing any monsters is probably enough to know that something is up, right? So I think Andend is in a decent spot at this point in time. Once again, Dust Shoot is going to whiff. And then wouldn't be surprised if you just fire off that Graceful Charity just to get some of the known cards out of your hand. We're going to go flip summon Spy first. That definitely makes sense. Thin the Spy out of the deck before you go ahead and fire off that Charity, if that is your plan. And this is going to get 2,400 attack points on the board here. So Spy, of course, not necessarily synonymous with Panda Burn, but getting 2,400 points of damage on the board just for the cost of a single normal summon is definitely something that's right up an aggressive burn player's alley, and Andend is going to use this to great effect here. Purple Drunk's going to need like a Mirror Force or maybe a Torrential if you brought that in. Otherwise, this is going to be a pretty significant clock. And we know Purple Drunk's hand is a lot of back row removal and Raigeki breaks with no discard fodder. So double Spies here, unless we have exactly Mirror Force set, is going to be really, really tough for Purple Drunk to deal with effectively. And this is exactly what the doctor ordered here for Andend. All right, nice. So yeah, once again, thinning the deck of a Spy before firing off that Jar of Greed, making it less likely that they draw another copy. Pretty solid there. And we're going to get in 424. Start things rolling, and Purple Drunk very much on the back foot. Ooh, and they're going to have to fire off a Ring of Destruction. Just to answer this Spy, they'll still take 1,200 damage. But yeah, recognizing that Ring is their only decent, I mean, I wouldn't even say it's a good answer to Spy, right? Because you're trading Ring for half of the Spy flip. But it's the best option that they have to deal with the Spy currently available to them compared to like a Raigeki break, discarding, what, another Raigeki break or something. No really particularly great options here for Purple Drunk, but I do think this is probably the best one available to them. They still will take the 1,200 damage, but they will at least prevent further pain from at least one of the copies of Spies in the future. And then, though, of course, we'll continue to have this threat sticking around. We'll be able to set plenty of back row here if they so choose. It looks like they found a monster off of that Jar of Greed, which is really scary for Purple Drunk. This might just be, yeah, looking pretty good for Andend here. Purple Drunk needs to find a monster or needs to find just some action, right? Let's see. Sometimes you have too much back row removal against burn, right? We're going to fire off this Heavy Storm. Yeah, with your hand being a bunch of back row, you kind of just want to get this out now so that it's not, there won't be any collateral damage on your side of the field in the future. Andend is going to lose their Ring of Destruction. Yeah, I mean, pretty solid read from Purple Drunk. We know that the back row is one of the known cards in hand. Secret Barrel wasn't going to do too much at this point in time, so unlikely that Andend was going to set that. So something not really super chainable like Ring definitely makes sense at this point in time. So Purple Drunk just getting that 1-for-1 trade, not really having to worry about it being a chainable. Oh, and they found Tribe Infecting Virus. Okay, so this is a nice angle back into the game. Tribe here can start to, filter out some of these not so great cards in your hand. Can start removing threats from the board here. Can go ahead and beat over the Spy. That's pretty nice. Now, is the play, because obviously if this set monster is a Jar from Andend, be really, really bad for Purple Drunk if it resolved. So is the play just set Raigeki break and then like pitch the MST or something to kill it and get 2-for-1 and just hope it's not a Jar, or hope that you're avoiding a Jar? That might be the play here. We'll see. Standby phase. Purple Drunk's going to let it go, saying, you know what? I'm not going to say you have a Jar here. Will they get punished? And it is going to fire off the Graceful Charity before doing anything with that monster. This will resolve, so a little bit of card filtration here. I'm going to go ahead, discard the known Minecon and a Morphing Jar. Okay, so suddenly it is a lot less likely that this set monster is a jar. Or maybe discarding the Morphing Jar makes it more likely that they have a Cyber Jar in the rotation, potentially. Let's see what Andend can do here, though. Gonna go normal summon Kaiku. Okay, so Prep showed that they do play Kaiku against Chaos Turbo. It's a nice all-around card for that matchup, and it is notably bigger than Tribe Infecting Virus, so this will be some nice damage. Ooh, and their set monster was Giant Rat. Okay, so they said, you know what? I have a nice aggressive group of monsters here with the Kaiku plus the Rat. So I'm not gonna go for the slow play with the Morphing Jar. Let me just play like a beatdown deck. Start getting in with these monsters. We're gonna crash the Rat into Tribe. Okay, so likely going into Injection Fairy Lily is my guess here. That's exactly what we'll see. This is a big, big amount of damage coming through. And basically just calling out that Purple Jar, or Purple Drunk, has no battle traps here. Yeah, I mean, I guess we already tested this back row. Or no, sorry, this back row is new. And so Andend wouldn't really know what it is, but saying, you know what, you didn't have Mirror Force before. Unlikely that you drew it, I guess. So let me just go all in here with these monsters and get nice and aggressive. You can go, I mean, I guess you go Lily, beat over the Tribe, Kaiku, banish Tribe. I mean, it kind of doesn't matter, I guess. Yeah, Kaiku will go ahead, kill that Tribe, and then Lily can get in for 34. Purple Drunk is going to be forced to Raigeki Break, yeah. Andend, of course, didn't know that Break was in the rotation, but we knew that it was pretty likely to be that. Going to discard that MST to deal with the Lily, and that is a lot of resources invested to prevent that big chunk of damage from coming through. And when all is said and done, Purple Drunk has, you know, very little resources available, and they're staring down a Kaiku who is a pretty relevant clock at this point in time, and Andend has plenty of other cards in hand that could be useful. You know, one of those is a Secret Barrel, which isn't going to go do too much at this point in time. The other two are unknowns though, so Purple Drunk might have some other things to worry about on their hands here. Gonna go set all three of them, so we know one of those is the barrel, two unknowns. Kaiku bearing down for 1800 a turn. Purple Drunk back up against the wall here. Just gonna set a back row pass. Okay, so it's gonna be enough. Kaiku will just go ahead and get in for 18. And Purple Drunk is just gonna use their second Raigeki break, so yeah. Just like I was saying, really, really bad draw here in the second game. Too much back row removal. You know, sometimes that you can have too much of a good thing, even in GOAT format. Too much back row removal against Burn and not enough stuff that just like deals with, you know, the more monster-centric half of things. And they had double Raigeki break with no real discard fodder. And so they have to invest 2 cards every time they want to remove one of these big beaters. And when the dust settles, and then it's just up a million cards. Sure, their Kaiku got answered, but like they're now in a really good position to kind of stall this game out and then, you know, find a way to deal the remaining 5,400 points of damage. You know, Purple Drunk has 0 cards to their name. Well, just 1 card, I guess. Yeah, Chaos isn't even live, so their top decks are not that amazing. Gonna go set a monster. I mean, could be Magician of Faith, which I guess would be nice if you can force out... If you can use Heavy Storm here and force out some suboptimal chains from Andend. Let's see, though. Andend is going to fire off the Ceasefire. That's a nice way to not have to worry about a potential Magician of Faith. It's just a Sinister Serpent, but this will at least ping Purple Drunk for 500, so it's not completely wasted. And, you know, Andend has some spare cards to burn at this point in time anyway, so just making sure that, like, it's not a Magician of Faith or something seems pretty fair to me. And they're just going to pass. All right. Purple Drunk here. Gonna set another monster, okay, but still not really making too much progress. A lot of the dangerous, well, yeah, I guess the only real dangerous sets here, now that the Dekoichis are banished, is exactly Magician of Faith. So Andend can probably play around that somehow, one would think. You know, I mean, the play is just flip Faith, grab Heavy, so maybe just don't set some Unchainables until that play has come through. Or just activate the ones you already have set. So once again, Purple Drunk, as soon as they go up to 2 monsters on board, Andend is ready and waiting to activate this Ojama Trio, locking them. Purple Trunk is now stuck with like a crappy Sinister Serpent on the board. So not going to be very impressive for them, and this will set up for a lot of potential stuff for andend here. Pandas will be huge, just desserts will be huge like we saw last game. And they do have the Gyakugiri Panda on lock here. You probably go ahead and attack over the Sinister Serpent. That seems like a good play. That is a lot of damage coming through here. Purple Drunk will drop all the way down to 1,850 life points. Gyakugiri Panda is now representing lethal on board against any of these trio tokens. And it's looking like this might just be a good old 2-0 here for andend, keeping Carbombnara's playoffs hopes alive and making RICO really sweat this one out here. You know, it ain't over till it's over, but Purple Drunk does not have too much gas left in the tank here. Staring down this massive Panda, they can go ahead and grab Sinister Serpent. Something you might want to think about at this point in time, right? Because what is Sinister doing for you when you know your opponent has Panda and a Secret Barrel ready to go? You might want to save yourself that amount of life points, potentially. I guess we know that that back row has to be Secret Barrel, right? So Purple Drunk playing it into a little... I mean, that the extra 200 is probably not the end of the world. They're just going to set a back row pass, keep that Sinister in hand. But a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, so Sinister isn't a make or break with the Secret Barrel right now. However, all they had to add to the board was just a single back row. So, and then it might just have lethal attacking over one of these trio tokens. They're going to go ahead and just go for it. And that is it. There you have it. Purple Drunk not able to take down andend, who has been a formidable force, an absolute wall here for Carbombnara, the last duelist standing for them. And they are now on a 3-0 run against RICO Act. 3 more players left in the tank here that they're going to have to get through. So still unlikely that Carbombnara is going to win this playoff round. But andend is definitely making him sweat a little bit. So hope you guys enjoyed this match. Tomorrow we will be seeing which one of Ever, Geisty, and Don't Copy will be sent out for RICO Act, trying to finally beat andend and secure their spot in the quarterfinals. But like I said, at this point in time, andend is on quite a run. They seem to know these matchups like the back of their hand. They have a deck configured pretty well against what RICO Act could potentially bring to them. So if you're a RICO player or a RICO fan, you might start sweating a little bit here. Anything can happen, right? And andend is definitely keeping their team, in the hunt, essentially, right? But yeah, at the end of it, though, that is going to be a 2-0 andend taking down Purple Drunk on Panda Burn versus Chaos Turbo. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I will catch you all next time.